Well, I'd say there's a real shared desire amongst local authorities and colleges to get it right for the learner. They're very much motivated by that.
Yes, I think that's certainly true. There's a lot of goodwill. I think the provision is very mixed. Some are getting on very well. Some have historically always had good relationships with their colleges. Others have started off with a lot of problems but have worked through to a better situation. But there are others where there still are a lot of concerns.
I think also in local authorities it's probably true that there's less understanding of the post-16 sector than there is of schools, and that doesn't really help. And of course there are the financial constraints that local authorities are working under, and that's a real barrier to partnership working. I think for specialist colleges the top priority is for managers to get themselves around the table into those strategic planning discussions. They're not always invited at the moment, and they need to seek out those invitations if they're not coming to them. The other thing I would say is they need to be really clear about their provision. What is it that their college offers? What needs can they meet? And they need to present those as solutions to some of the difficult issues that local authorities are grappling with. And that means sometimes being very transparent about fees in our sector, making sure that local authorities know that their money is being well spent. And finally, many of our colleges work on a regional or even national level, and I think there's a role for managers from specialist colleges to help bring local authorities together at a regional level to do some more strategic regional planning beyond their own local area.
Yeah, I think in GFE all those same principles apply. I think what we have found is it works really well if to begin with you get the principals of college and the chief executives of a local authority, so you're really starting at the top. The second thing is inviting local authority people to see the college, because often they don't understand its difference from school. And the third thing is, as you have, although to a lesser extent, many GFEs are working with several different local authorities, so it's getting them all together around the same table. Yes, I think there are not one size fits all. There are different examples in different places that suit different colleges. In Hertfordshire, there's historically been very good working together between the post-school sector and the local authority, and that has continued, and they have really good structures in place with transition workers, etc. But a lot of places don't have that. East Kent, who traditionally had some very bad relationships with their local authority, have now worked on to much better ones, and they have a lot of high needs students, mainly they're from one local authority, the bulk of them are, and they've actually worked through a system where they get a lump sum of money so they can plan ahead that is consistent for 3 years, and that's worked for them. In the Black Country, it's quite different. You have a group of 7 colleges working with all of their local authorities, meet together regularly and sort out sort of shared provisions. So, for example, one college is specialising with blind students, another with deaf. They share resources. So there's a lot of different models that are working well.
I think it's less well developed for specialist colleges. They're not necessarily part of that strategic planning in the same way. There's a lot of good individual relationships, colleague to colleague. They're at risk, of course, somebody moves on and that relationship between the organisations then breaks down. Some of our smaller providers have got very good relationships with their local authorities, where they're particularly addressing an issue, a need in the local authority around a particular area. So Eat That Frog in Devon has done a lot of work around NEET learners with SEND, Expanse Learning in Wigan as well, where they've really explained their provision, developed it to meet need, and that's definitely helped having a good working relationship to do that. But of course many of our colleges work with multiple local authorities, and that really is a complicating factor, and we're not really quite where we need to be yet with that.